Time to rock and roll with some factoring. So we're going to learn a kind of new factoring technique here, factoring by grouping. And it's best used when you have 4 terms in your polynomial. And what you do is you take that polynomial, so this one right here, and you split it in half. Okay, so I'm going to look at this, the left half and the right half. And I'm going to group, I've grouped it as such, the left half and the right half. Then we're going to factor out common monomials from each group, or just whatever the common factor is. You're going to factor that out from each group. So for this left half, what do they have in common? Both have an x. In fact, actually, you could take out as high as an x squared from both of them. So x squared is going to come out, and if I pull out x squared, then it would just be an x plus 3 remaining. All right. Then this right half, do the same thing. Well, they don't both have an x, so that's out, but they both have a negative sign, and they're both divisible by 4. So I'm going to pull out a negative 4. And if I divide negative 4x by negative 4, I just have x. If I divide negative 12 by negative 4, I get just positive 3. Okay, so we did that. We factored out the common monomials from each group. Now factor out the common binomial and then write this in factored form. So x plus 3 is a binomial. It's common to both of them. So we're going to factor that out, and my final answer is going to look like this. So the x plus 3 is going to come out. If I do that, then that means the x squared and the minus 4 are remaining. And done. We factored it into factored form here. Now, it is worth mentioning that sometimes you can go a little bit further after that. For example, here, x plus 3 is fine. That's as factors as that's going to be. But x squared minus 4 is a difference of squares, and difference of squares would become this. So square root of x squared is x, square root of 4 is 2, so it's x plus 2, x minus 2. Now that's not going to happen every time, but just it's food for thought that if you can continue to factor, you should do so. So let's just see some other examples of greatest common factoring. On the left-hand side here, they have an x squared in common. If I pull out x squared, then I have just x and minus 2. And on the right-hand side here, I'm going to deliberately pull out a negative sign, because whenever this term is negative, I'm going to pull out a negative sign. So even though they don't both have a negative in common, I am going to pull out a negative. And what are they both divisible by? They're both divisible by 9. Okay? And if I divide both by 9, then by negative 9, then that would just be a positive x for this first thing. And for the last one, 18 divided by negative 9 is negative 2. And so then we pull the x minus 2 out to the side, and then that would leave me with the x squared and the minus 9. And once again, x squared minus 9 is a difference of squares type of factoring, so I can go one step further and say that this is x minus 2 times x plus 3 and x minus 3. Because again, that's difference of squares. Alright, so now this first one here, I see that x squared is still the thing they have in common, and pulling out an x squared would leave me with a 2x plus 1. On the right hand side, they're both divisible by 4, so if I pull out the 4, then 8x divided by 4 is 2x. Back here I left off the x. And 4 divided by 4 is just 1. I kind of caught that mistake myself because I realized that both of these parentheses should be the same thing. So that's kind of one thing that's great when you're doing factoring by grouping, is you'll notice that. Okay, so 2x plus 1 is the common binomial, and then x squared plus 4 would go in the parentheses. Now here I can't factor this one any further because this isn't a difference of squares. So actually this is as factorable as this gets. So that's the answer for that one. And then lastly here, okay, once again I see x squared is a factor, and I pull that out, and that would leave me with just a single x and a minus 1. And on the right hand side, again, if there's a negative sign here, I'm going to factor that out, and they're both divisible by 25. So then that's just going to leave me with a positive x here, and if I divide by negative 25, that would be a negative 1 here, because once again, it should match this other first parentheses. So x minus 1 is the common binomial. I pull that out. X squared minus 25 goes there. X squared minus 25 is a difference of squares, and so then that final answer would look like this. X plus 5 times x minus 5. And there you go. That's factoring by grouping.